Something to note. I had forgotten Todd's name when I was figuring out the beginning of this episode, and thought his name was Hank. So when I refer to Kara's owner, I keep calling him Hank. Just so you know, so there's no confusion. I'm really talking about Todd, and not another character named Hank who you meet later on in this same episode. Sorry about that. So last time on Detroit Become Human, we had two stories. The first introducing Kara to her home, the second introducing us to Marcus's. Both of them have largely similar functions, that being the maintenance of the household, along with the supervision of the people within. Both deal with single fathers who have strained relationships with their children. With Carl, you have a character who is physically handicapped. With Hank, he has mental issues, but it's unlikely at this stage that Kara was purchased for the purposes of helping him. Kara was probably purchased as a surrogate mother for Alice. Hank doesn't appear to be the kind of guy who would admit to having problems. Between the two of them, I think what can be seen is the difference is that one of them was purchased out of necessity, whereas the other was purchased out of convenience. Though I suppose I should probably state that Hank could...
I think your saved game is corrupted. Just kidding.
Though I suppose I should probably say Hank could really be someone who needs help. It's clear that he's started to take some steps with the possession of antidepressants, though it's unclear whether he uses them or whether they have an effect on his system. As a writer, David Cage is not subtle. It is not his strong suit. There is nothing wrong with being blunt, but it just feels as though Cage is trying really specifically to make Hank unlikable, trying a little bit too hard. At the same time, though, there are issues. There are numerous issues that he's dealing with as a character, but we're never quite presented with how he got to his stage in life. He has troubles getting a job. He has troubles getting credit, though he has no problem affording the purchasing and reparations of an android. At the same time, he doesn't seem to understand what he's purchased. He seems particularly upset that Kara had discovered his drug stash, but at the same time, it's likely that she had already discovered it before. How much of their interactions are repetitions?
Is not to live, but to have a reason to live.
I suppose if you don't...
Jean Genot, a French writer.
Oh, why thank you. I suppose if you don't have a reason to live, then you're just going about your actions. How many of the interactions between Kara and Hank are just repetitions of things that happened before? If it already happened before, then shouldn't he know that she's going to look there? Especially if you put it in the laundry detergent. You hired somebody to clean up your house. You put it in the cleaning material. That also brings up another question. Another question is, are androids obligated to report crimes? As owned objects, technology doesn't necessarily reflect public interests. Inside this room right now, there are various pieces of technology. If I were to perform a crime, my television isn't going to report me. My printer isn't going to turn me into the cops. My computer, depending on my ISP, might result in issues, but my computer itself won't sell me out. If I had a Roomba, of which I don't, and if it would discover drugs on the floor during its daily routine...
Too easy or too difficult, remember, you can change the difficulty settings in the options section.
The Roomba wouldn't be able to report me. That said, androids are different. It can be assumed that an android doesn't store all of its information on its person, but rather be able to connect to a network. When Kara picks up the drugs, she doesn't recognize what she's looking at right away, but takes a moment before the description loads, implying some sort of lag. So if androids are not required to report crimes, then in theory, if Hank did nothing, she would have likely just put the drugs back. The idea of having an android take care of household chores, however... From here I can see 2 plates destined for the dishwasher. Make that 3. 6 cans of Coke Zero, each with some amount of liquid inside. Make that 10. A plastic container with popcorn kernels. Another plate. On one hand, I admit I can be a lazy bastard. On the other hand, cleaning and organization takes time. Valuable time that I could be using playing video games. Also, I'd imagine if I had an Android, I would totally have the Android figure out my recording setup and how to make it better. It would be easier, and the Android would probably be better at it than I would. I would just have to turn on the video game and be like, hey, Kara, is everything recording okay? And Kara would be like, yep, everything's good. Kind of like the relationship between that of Marcus and Carl, in which Marcus exists to do everything that Carl can't. Carl's home is garish and decadent because it couldn't just be a nicer version of Hank's home. It needs statues. It needs multiple animal skins. It needs babies on the chandelier. I already said that David Cage is not subtle, so. But the concept of having someone take care of things like the upkeep, like meal preparation, means that the individual in question has the means to explore other avenues. Carl doesn't seem like he would be able to live on his own, but the inclusion of humans around him wouldn't necessarily be enough for him to live a, quote, normal life, unquote. He is surrounded by technology that exists to maintain his body, while also granting him the ability to paint giant canvases despite his ailments. I suppose that can lead to the question, is technology created to serve man? Is an android created to serve man? Is consciousness granted to an android for the purposes of serving man? But I think I've talked enough without playing the game so far, so, as Philip DeFranco might say, let's jump right into it. Jimmy's bar is so prolific, it needs 2 signs. Ah, it's Connor. Who is Connor's owner? Is it the police station? This is definitely a hole in the wall. Derek Myers.
Shit, I thought androids weren't allowed in here. What's your problem? Wanna buy me a drink?
I wonder if it's this guy who's hunched over and cannot be ID'd because he's facing away. Now, the question is, can I play this arcade game? The answer is clearly no. I am disappointed. Uh, 31% unemployment rate. How many people would that be at 31%? So presently, the approximate population of the United States is 326 million. 31% of that would be 100 million unemployed people. Just imagine what 100 million unemployed would look like in a country. Either that's exaggeration or David Cage did not do the math. See, clearly it's not this guy. Yep. Yep, it's Hank. Hank is,
Lieutenant Anderson, my name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife. I looked for you at the station, but nobody knew where you were. They said you were probably having a drink nearby. I was lucky to find you at the 5th bar.
What do you want?
You were assigned a case early this evening.
I should probably note that I was referring to the owner of Kara as Hank. I just assumed that was his name. It appears that I'm incorrect. Just a note.
A homicide involving a CyberLife android. In accordance with procedure, the company has allocated a specialized model to assist investigators.
Well, I don't need any assistance. Especially not from a plastic asshole like you. Just be a good little robot and get the fuck out of here.
Listen, I think you should stop drinking and come with me. It'll make life easier for both of us.
Do drunk people listen to reason?
I understand that some people are not comfortable in the presence of androids, but
I am perfectly comfortable. Now back off before I crush you like an empty beer can.
You know what? I'll buy you one for the road. What do you say? Bartender, the same again, please.
See that, Jim? Wonders of technology. Make it a double.
I feel that was the best answer. I feel like if I was waiting outside, that might cause for trouble.
Did you say homicide?
Should he be driving?
You wait here. Won't be long.
My instructions are to accompany you to the crime scene, Lieutenant.
Listen, I don't give a fuck about your instructions. I told you to wait here. So you shut the fuck up and you wait here.
But he seemed to approve of that. Yeah, this is an interesting idea. That the AI would have conflicting orders and would have to choose between one or the other.
Typical DPD. They don't tell us shit.
Androids are not permitted beyond this point.
It's with me. What part of staying in the car didn't you understand?
Your order contradicted my instructions, Lieutenant.
You don't talk, you don't touch anything, and you stay out of my way. Got it?
Got it.
I can do that.
We were starting to think you weren't gonna show.
Yeah, that was the plan until this asshole found me.
So, you got yourself an android, huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
very
nobody-
funny. Just tell me what happened.
We had a call around
Nobody
the
minds that he's
landlord.
drunk.
Lieutenant hadn't paid his rent for a few months, so he thought he'd drop by, see what was going on. That's when he found the body. Jesus, that smell. Was even worse before we opened the windows.
Hmm.
His name's Carlos Ortiz. He has a record for theft and aggravated assault. According to the neighbors, he was kind of a loner.
Yeah.
Stayed inside most of the time. They hardly ever.
I am alive.
Stay easy, in. Wasn't worth calling everybody out in the middle of the night. Could have waited till morning.
I'd say he's been there for a good 3 weeks. We'll know more when the coroner gets here. There's a kitchen knife over here. Probably the murder weapon.
Any sign of a break-in?
Nope. The landlord said the front door was locked from the inside. All the windows were boarded up. The killer must have gone out the back way.
What do we know about his android?
Not much. The neighbors confirmed he had one, but it wasn't here when we arrived. I gotta get some air. Make yourself at home. I'll be outside if you need me.
There are 10 pieces of evidence. Let's see if we can find them all.
Oh, Jesus, what the hell are you doing?
I'm analyzing the blood. I can check samples in real time. I'm sorry. I should have warned you.
Okay, just don't put any more evidence in your mouth, got it?
Got it.
Fucking hell, I can't believe this shit.
Like, doesn't you? Okay, so that's a bit odd, but still, it's useful. We know the time of death.
Each letter is perfect. It's way too neat. No human writes like this.
No human writes like that.
I would say so. We're taking samples for analysis.
That is his evidence that it's an android. The lettering is too good.
Seems our friend Carlos liked to party.
Cyberlife Sands. Okay. It's like
Full analysis on the night.
red ice. Huh. "28 knife wounds. That's a lot of cuts. Amazing how I'm able to recap all of these things after. Although I suppose you could argue that this does not present things as they happened, as much as this is a prediction software. Inadmissible in court. Very true. The victim appears to have been stabbed. I would not have been able to tell this.
He was stabbed 28 times.
Yeah. Seems like the killer really had it in for him.
Consider it done, Lieutenant.
That's only 2 of 10. What else?
Yeah, that's it.
Red ice. The local drug of choice. Got some dried blood. The American flag for America. The Eden Club. Huh. You know, this crime scene seems pretty crowded. Like, he's worried about the android ruining evidence.
What's keeping the car? He should have been there a half hour before.
He's on his way. It won't be long now. Come on, guys. Get a move on. We don't want to be here all night.
Don't worry. No one wants to stay here a minute longer than they have to.
Yeah, so I'm trying to follow his trail from the kitchen to his living room. So Carlos attempted to defend himself. And it looks like he got at least one swing in. So it started with the deviant getting attacked. And then he took a knife to defend himself. But why did he attack his android?
There's something weird in the bathroom. Did you take a look?
Android sex officially better. This story was sponsored by the Android Sex Club. Seems a little bit of conflict of interest there. Is your android spying on you? CyberLife could be using its androids to collect private information. Find out tonight at 9. Alright, let's put that down. So if the screen is digital, like, why is it still shaped like a book? Okay. Excellent. The crime scene can be considered investigated. But let's see what's going on in the backyard. There is a giant mound of dirt.
Door was locked from the inside. Killer must have gone out this way.
There are no footprints apart from Officer Collins' size 10 shoes.
Well, this happened weeks ago. Tracks could have faded.
This is true.
This type of soil would retain a trace. Nobody's been out here for a long time.
So, which way did the deviant escape? Is the question. Can I still find out that answer? Is the deviant still inside this home? Alright, let's find Hank. Where is Lieutenant Anderson? Mr. Anderson.
Lieutenant, I think I figured out what happened.
Oh, yeah? Shoot, I'm all ears.
It all started in the kitchen.
There are obvious signs of a struggle. Question is, what exactly happened here?
I think the victim attacked the android with the bat.
That lines up with the evidence. Go on.
The android stabbed the victim.
So the android was trying to defend itself, right? Okay, then what happened?
The victim fled to the living room.
And now to be quizzed about what we learned.
And he tried to get away from the android.
But it didn't work.
Right, that makes sense.
The android murdered the victim with the knife.
Okay. Your theory's not totally ridiculous. But it doesn't tell us where the android went.
It also doesn't tell us why the
It
android was
damaged
attacked.
by the bat and lost some therium.
Lost some what?
Therium. You call it blue blood. It's the fluid that powers androids' biocomponents. It evaporates after a few hours and becomes invisible to the naked eye.
Oh. But I bet you can still see it, can't you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I believe I saw some therium in the kitchen. Yep, there we go. Should I be trying to examine this? A ladder was used. The android might still be in the house. In the attic. I'll use this dumb statue to climb. No, I'm not. There's probably a chair I can use. There's probably a chair that I could get. There we go.
Hey, what are you doing with that chair?
I'm going to check something.
Gonna check something.
Now, if the android is up here, there should be nothing preventing me from trying to kill the android, because they could always just repair it and turn it back on. Okay, this is pretty awesome, though. David Cage games usually have their moments. This seems pretty good. Yep, he's in the house.
I was just defending myself.
Huh, maybe we'll find out why. Again, maybe we'll find out why.
I'm begging you. Don't tell him.
Connor, what the fuck is going on up there?
It's here, Lieutenant!
Oh, shit. Chris, Ben, get your asses
Yeah,
in here.
I wasn't even given a choice on that one.
Come on!
Ah, I wonder if I could have screwed up in reconstructing the crime, or not realized what happened, and then came up with the wrong conclusion and failed to find the deviant. But now, because I found the deviant, Mr. Anderson probably likes me a little bit more. Excellent. Yeah, 96% of people found the deviant. So that wasn't very impressive then. I have no friends. And now back to this guy's house, of whom I forget his name. Clearly. But there's Alice. Maybe I can scan his face and learn his name again. Todd.
Dinner is ready.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Ooh, I got the spaghetti dinner.
There wasn't much in the kitchen. I did what I could.
lost my job because of androids. And when I need somebody to take care of this goddamn house, what do? I go out and hire a fucking android. What a joke. Of course, androids are so fucking wonderful. They never fail. They're never tired. Never sad. They're so fucking perfect. They ruin my fucking life.
And darn those androids for applying for jobs that I was interested in.
What's your fucking problem? Not the life you dreamed of, eh? Maybe you think this is easy.
Like, are androids required to at least participate with child services?
My fault your fucking mother took off. You should stop taking drugs, Todd. Sometimes you really scare me, Todd. Fucking bitch took off without a word. Fucking whore walked out on me for a fucking accountant.
And she left her child at home, too.
Fucking fault!
And he ruined that spaghetti dinner.
Come back here! Come back here right now! Yes! It's all her fault. I know it's her fault. I gotta teach her. I gotta teach her a good fucking lesson. That's what she deserves. Stein, you stay there. Don't you dare fucking move, or I'll bust you worse than last time. Took off without a word. I could have been happy.
I can function with this gameplay.
Shit about how I felt. I did everything I could to make her happy. It just wasn't enough. I just wasn't good enough for her.
Ah, smoking that red ice.
Fucking brat.
Like, I wonder what the result is of smoke. Oh, look, he's got a curved television. Like, I wonder what the result is of taking the drug. Like, does it calm you down? Does it agitate you? Does it get you high? Like, what does red ice actually do for you? Like slow-mo in the movie Dread. That has a very clear function.
Alice! Daddy's very mad! You deserve to be taught a good lesson! A good fucking lesson.
So now, do I do nothing? I'm gonna do something. Ooh, I can't even choose to move. Can I force my way through the programming? Sorry, dude, I'm not gonna stand for this. Yep. Good.
Alice!
And his gun is in there. Can I choose to... Nope.
Leave her alone.
What the fuck are you doing? Put down the gun and get the fuck out of here.
Now, can I shoot him in the leg?
I want you to leave her alone.
You want? What do you mean you want? What are you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? Is that it? You gonna shoot a human? You seem to have a problem. I think we need to fix that.
Watch out, Kara!
Yeah.
Come here, bitch.
Stop that! Don't hurt her! Leave her alone!
You do as I say.
What just happened? I grabbed the... I thought I was growing after the belt. Nope, I grabbed the gun. Well, I'm guessing I'm on the run now. That was an odd series of cuts. Now... Luckily, nobody will notice the blood on my... Well, actually, it's probably not even... There's no driver. I was... For a second there, I was worried somebody might actually look at my clothes for blood, but nope. Okay, so even if Kara fails in whatever escape this is, the child should, in theory, hopefully end up in some sort of child services, and not with some crazy abusive father who is all up on drugs. Okay. And because I saw the gun in the previous chapter, that allowed me to use the gun. But that is a lot of branches. I could have ended that story there by doing nothing. Or by leaving, maybe? Huh. %80 of people defended Alice, but only 42% of people killed Todd. Luckily, I don't have to remember Todd's name much longer. 97% of people went upstairs. Which means only 3% of people did not break programming. Even though you have multiple choices, everybody chooses the same thing. Huh. Thank you for watching this episode of Detroit Become Human. If you've still got the itch for more content, why not give one of those links a try? Got some questions or comments? You can comment down below or send it on over to itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. That's itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. So long, folks.